Yes, his mission is to exceed and provide the best customer service to each one. He draws on 15 plus years of expensive. So this guy has the receipt to guide investors, sellers, buyers through the real estate process. Whether you are a first-time buyer, you're upgrading, or you're just looking for something new, he's definitely that guy. He was born in Miami, so he is a local. He graduated in 2007 as the VP of his class. He has a bachelor's in legal studies from Nova Southeastern University. I went to Nova also. Fins up, hello. And also during Jeffrey's time in school, he proceeded to become a real estate professional. He earned his, he became a top producing agent his first year in real estate. And since then, he's been consistently breaking numbers, hitting records, and excelling. In 2016, Jeffrey started his real estate team called JC Sales Team. In 2023, Jeffrey, he started over again. So, guys, it's always never hesitate to reinvent yourself because it is possible. So, you guys heard how he started off in 2016 with the team. In 2023, he demolished it and he pivoted and did something else. He has completed over 25 to 30 million dollars in sales production, helping sellers, buyers, investors, relocation members. His goal is to hit that 40 million mark. So we are bringing people here to you guys that are experts in the industry, okay? That has the receipt. It's not it's not by coincidence that he's received the name listing machine because that is what he is. I personally know Jeffrey. I had the opportunity to work with him for a few months when he was at a different brokerage, and I learned so much. And he's just such a wealth of information. He's been able to climb mountains, help a lot of customers throughout his years. He's definitely who's who. He's that guy in real life. A few of his accolades are in 2002, he received Who's Who magazine, 2021, top entrepreneur, to be known by the Grant Cardone. He also received top 100 influential people. He's gotten accolades from Haitian American Chamber of Commerce, and it goes on. Because if I keep going, we'll be here till tomorrow, okay? And I know you guys want to get to the information. Without further ado, please help me introduce my dear friend, Jeffrey. It's time for you guys to learn about prospecting and how you can convert those prospects into closings. Jeffrey, it's your time to shine.
I love it. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much, Kayla. Thank you for the opportunity, the organization that provides the pathway. And I think that's what truly you guys are doing is providing the pathway for the people in the industry, but also the community. So many times us islanders are left behind. We're miseducated. We don't understand things. And sometimes we kind of get ripped off as well because of our lack of education. So I think every person that's a part of the organization, I think the founders that are here today, and I think that each and every single person here, when they go to fight for home ownership, excited about that. So a little bit about me for those of you guys that don't know me. I decided to move in the space of really working with sellers, I'd say in 2018, 2017, but I really got serious. Type serious in the chat, y'all, because that's really what it's about, especially right now, y'all. Today, I was excited. I received 3 offers on 3 different one of my listings. You may have saw earlier in the chat that I have about 30 something active listings on the market. I got some stuff that are not even listed yet. And then I have some stuff that are in our company's arsenal, which some of you guys would like to know, maybe as pocket listings as well, that we are truly shifting the game of real estate. And what I mean by that is that we're providing an opportunity for you guys to know that I don't need to be stuck working with buyers. I don't need to be stuck working with renters. I don't even need to be stuck working at a lower price point as well. Excited that some of our listings in our inventory, and I say are because I am a team. While I do not have agents that I work with, I have people that support me in the back end. And that's something else that we're going to dive into. How do you handle 30 listings? And that's probably what you guys are probably wondering. How do you have 14, 15, and maybe by the end of the next 24 hours, 19 things pending is a team that backs me up. So I do have a transaction coordinator. I do have a marketing team that I work with. And in addition to that, I do have a personal staff person that assists me to getting there. So when you think about the vision of a team, we sometimes think that we need to have all of these soldiers behind us that happen to be licensees, but not necessarily. Your team is really whatever you structure it to be. And while that may not be our focus for today, I really want you guys to really understand that in efforts to really change the game, in efforts for you to really get to your goals, whatever those goals may be, is that it's going to take a team. And right here is our team, is where our team starts off. Each and every single person here can truly help us to get to our goal, but it's all about understanding the power of collaboration. Okay. So I'm excited to be here today. Once again, Kayla, thank you so much for the platform. Even Alexa's a part of the team, or Siri, whatever this thing is, that decides to randomly go off. So excited about that. So hopefully I answered one of your questions for the night. How does he do it? And really, folks, I am really hands-on. I am 110% hands-on. I got home about an hour ago, and I probably just went through about 28 to 32 emails that were going back and forth between transactions that were pending, items that were pending. So really hands-on. If sometimes you guys think that, and I've been asked that once before, sometimes we think that when we have so much on our plate, we kind of drop the ball here and there. And if you really have systems, which is kind of what allows you the opportunity to hold so many listings, you kind of really don't. You're able to relax on the weekends. You're able to relax on in the evenings. You're able to pick and choose who you want to work with. Be excited right now. If you had the opportunity to say, man, I don't need to work with that seller. I don't need to work with that buyer, or that transaction just fell apart. Oh my gosh, what am I going to do? That was my only pending deal. Being able to build a pipeline. And that's really what we need right now. In this time right now, where I do see some activities happening on the market, I'm so grateful for that. But in this time right now, each and every single person here, and some of you guys I do know from far, some of you guys I do know from close, but each and every single person here today really needs to be focusing every single day on building the pipeline. I literally just did a broker's open earlier today. I did a mortgage event yesterday, and I just learned, y'all, that I have my office meeting tomorrow at 9 o'clock. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to prospect. I need to lead generate. I need to follow up, and I need to get contracts to the closing table. And that's just really how I am. I went to dinner with a title company this Friday, y'all. And listen to me. And I hope that my story resonates with you. And if it doesn't, you pause after tonight and you go and you think back. I went to dinner with a title company who happens to be a great title company of mine. I send majority of my files to them. And we were at dinner and they were like, how are you doing? And I'm like, I'm good. And they're like, how was your week? And I said, it was kind of bad. And I'm like, why? I'm like, because I didn't sign any sellers this week. And I'm like, it's a bad week for me. You got to have a burning desire in you to really hit your goals. You have to be so obsessed with hitting your goals that the gentleman that has 30 listings, 15 pending, is still upset, still defeated, still not happy with himself because he didn't sign anyone last week. And if that's not you, you got to leave here today and say, man, my goals are obtainable. My goals are reachable. My goals are happening each and every single day. Buyers and sellers want to align with me. I'm a money magnet. Listings are happening day in and day out. Closings are happening day in and out. And you got to be able to affirm those things that are you. Okay. And why do I talk about this? Because I believe mindset is the number one thing. I see my great friend who I just got off the phone with here, Angelique, and she says, so many people are always like, how does he do it? And they're like, you got to be you. She says, you have to be you and your own authentic self. So for me, I desire to really work in the space of working with sellers. I don't enjoy working with buyers. I don't show properties. So although I mentioned earlier today that I was in a mortgage event yesterday, I was really there just to support the people that were putting on the event. But really, I was like, none of this stuff really resonates with me. And when I kind of really don't know what's happening in the space of buyers and hometown heroes and this down payment program and that program, I've really like basically put a blindfold over my face where if it doesn't involve a seller, it doesn't involve listing, it doesn't involve a net sheet, it doesn't involve photography, it doesn't involve videos, it doesn't involve going to closing in the space of working with sellers, it really doesn't apply to me. And some of you guys may be in the space of working with both. And you hear, yeah, you got a list to dominate, you got a list to last, but you got to really list to really last. Okay. I saw some people work with some buyers that I know about in my group, which I'll talk to you guys later today. And they were working with them for 2 months, 3 months, 5 months, and then the people just fade away. Drop a two in the chat if you ever had a buyer that you were working with and they just faded away. And you're like, what the heck just happened here? Okay. But now drop a three in the chat if you ever had a listing and it fell through. And guess what? Eventually you were able to sell it. Would I not rather have the listing that falls through 5, 6, 7, 8 times? I don't care because I still hold the listing and eventually it's going to get sold. Rather than having the buyer that I spent my Saturdays, my weekends, my mornings, my nights. I don't leave my house before 11, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the afternoon sometimes. That you just spent your 7 o'clock, your 8 o'clock, your 9 o'clock morning with, and they just fell off the planet of the earth. And you're like, what the heck just happened? I needed to make my rental payment. I needed to make my mortgage payment. I need to pay my BMW or whatever vehicle you may drive with that payment, and they got lost. So really, if you're here today and you want to learn about working with sellers, being in the space of prospecting each and every single day, and prospecting is everything. I heard Kayla speak about that just earlier. Prospecting is everything that you're doing. Okay. So what is it? The voice of gap. Okay. The voice to understand that, man, what does my elevator pitch look like? The voice to understand that everyone is an opportunity. You know, I co-own my coaching program with someone else. And sometimes, like, I don't know if she's here right now, but sometimes I got to freeze and stop and say, wait a minute. Like, we just missed out on an opportunity right there. That's an opportunity to sign up someone. Let's think this back. Okay. And that's truly what prospecting is about. So maybe Jeff does his prospecting from the phones. But maybe you're going to leave here today and say, man, I'm going to dominate in the space of sellers, but I'm going to do it a little bit different. Maybe I'm going to dominate by moving to a brand new area like I did and visiting every single restaurant and learning the restaurants that are out there and the employees that are out there and who's moving in and who's moving out. For example, you know, this is a nugget that may not be a part of the training, but I hope you're taking notes right now. And this is what I would do because this is what I'm actively doing in this new area that I'm in right now, that I'm actually purchasing in the next couple of weeks, is that if I was to move to a brand new area and I wanted to dominate in this area, and this comes in the space of listings as well, you all, I would go to where are the people going to? So if someone buys a home, drop it in the chat. If someone buys a home, what are a couple of things that they're going to do after they purchase a house? And for those of you guys that are in the back hanging out, sleeping, it's time to wake up. I need your participation. They're going to go to Lowe's. Amazing. Where else are they going to go? They're going to go to the furniture store, the grocery store, the Home Depots. Exactly. So what I would do in the form of prospecting is I would go there and I would probably learn who are the key component peoples. The grocery store is amazing. Who are the key component peoples and how do I build relationships with them? Because people are always moving in and moving out of the area, and they know people that you don't know, and you now need to get those people into your arsenal as well. The furniture store, exactly. So what I would do is I would prospect the furniture store. I would prospect the IKEAs. I would prospect the grocery store. I would prospect the Home Depots. Okay. And what do I mean by that? Is that I personally, I go to the same exact Publix every single time. I go to the same gas station every single time. I fill up every 3 days, and every 3 days I go to the same Shell. I don't go to I don't even know what the gas stations are. I don't go to the Mobile. I don't go to the Wawa. I go to the same exact shelves. Okay. I go to the same exact Publix that's right down the street from me. Because what happens is I become a familiar face. I go to the same restaurant. If anyone knows me, 60 Vine is my restaurant. I go there for lunch. I know the whole menu. I know all the servers. They know me. They know exactly what I'm going to eat because I kind of do order the same thing every single time. But ladies and gentlemen, that's a form of prospecting. So you got to leave here and say, man, how am I going to hit my goals? How am I going to make it to the closing table? How am I going to stay in front of people to now where I can now go from 10 deals to 15 deals to 20 deals? Because guess what, Jeff? I'm not going to be getting on the phones. I'm not doing that. I'm not talking to people at 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm not following up. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. Okay. But guess what? What you're going to do is you're going to figure out what method works best for you. And you're just going to continue to do it over and over and over and over again, you know? So let's get into the program for today. If you're learning something already, drop a one in the room. Let me see who's with me. If you're learning something that you're going to implement after today, man, if you didn't know who I am, you're going to know who I am today. And I'm really a student that's actively in the trenches, in the field, making things happen. Because I don't just say it and don't do it. You'll actually see me in the fields making things happen. Okay. So excited for that little drop that I did. But when it comes to prospecting, y'all, you got to really understand, what does my prospecting look like? Okay. Is my prospecting going to be a particular area? Is my prospecting going to be a particular price point? And maybe you just love buyers and you're going to leave here today and say, man, I enjoy working with buyers. You're going to implement the same exact activities. Maybe you love working with investors. Maybe you enjoy working foreclosures. Maybe you enjoy doing commercial transactions. I believe what Kayla said earlier about prospecting is that what we learn, we can actually put it into any field. A car salesman can easily transition from selling cars to selling houses. An insurance broker can easily go from insurance broker to real estate. Because I believe at the end of the day, y'all, and I know this to be true, is that sales is sales. Okay. And if you guys also believe that as you venture through your real estate career and you don't want to be a sales rep and you don't want to sound salesy, you got another thing coming. Because you never know who's your next transaction. You never know who's going to open the door to your next transaction. For those of you guys that attended my Brokers Open today, I got the gentleman from prospecting. Okay. I got the gentleman from prospecting a $200,000 condo in Pembroke Pines. Okay. To him calling me, randomly calling me and saying, hey, we're getting ready to sell our house. I was like, wow, where are you guys going? Oh, we bought a bigger house for $1 million. And I go and I meet him and he's like, yeah, we lived here for 3, 4, 5 years. We're going to stay here for our new house for 3, 4, 5 years. And then you'll sell that, you know? So from one little call, not only did he provide a referral to me, which we already closed, but we did one deal in Pembroke Pines. God willing, we're going to do another deal in Lake Worth. And God willing, we're going to do another deal in Palm Beach, Jupiter. Okay? From the one freaking call that we did, you know? Because we never know. Okay? So prospecting is understanding exactly who is your target audience. Who do I want to speak to? For myself, Jeff, I want to speak to sellers. I want to speak to sellers. Sellers are looking for me daily. I affirm that. Okay? So are my sellers people in condominiums? Are my sellers people that are looking to retire? Are my sellers people that are on the west side coming to the east side? Are my sellers people that are in foreclosure? We heard we had a foreclosure specialist in the room here today. Are my sellers or buyers, whatever it is, y'all, are they people that are just graduating from college? Maybe I want to tap into the hometown heroes. And I always tell my students, I say, take the information and move it over to sellers. So maybe I want to take the hometown heroes and it's for veterans and military-based people, and it's for police officers and school teachers and governmental workers. And imagine if I took that and I now said, man, these people are my target audience. A couple websites I'm going to go to right away. I'm going to go to LinkedIn. I'm going to go to Facebook. And I'm going to start targeting these people. Okay. Maybe I'm going to drive by a particular area. So I want to work with police officers in Coral Springs. Maybe a little bit of Parkland, maybe a little Tamarack, maybe a little Margate. I'm going to just drive down. And guess what? Maybe what I'm going to do is I'm going to design a flyer or a postcard, whatever that is, and drop it to every police officer that I happen to see have their squad car in front of the home or the rental community that they're having to residing in. Okay. Or maybe school teachers. I'm going to go to the schools. I was so excited, you guys. I was at the bank yesterday. I pulled the money out that we gave out today. Congrats to our winner. I know she's in here, Joanne. And the lady that bumped into me, she actually bumped into the photographer. She's like, hey, you're a photographer, you're a camera guy. I need your information, blah, 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 blah. And she's like, I was like, I'm a realtor. I want to invite you to my event. And she's like, wait, I'm a realtor. And I said, you are really? She's like, what? I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, I have a listing right here that happens to be a condominium. And I'm talking to people on the road. I live on the strip, you guys, and I'm talking to people that could possibly interested in buying my condo. And I said, oh my gosh, I love you. I don't even know your name. But guess what? She was doing what had to be done. She was speaking to random people because she never knows who her buyer is. But she understood that the seller gave her a job and she needs to get the job accomplished. So what is she doing? She's canvassing random people that are in business suits because it's like a mixed use place here. You got restaurants, you got rental buildings, you got condominiums, you got businesses here. And she doesn't know she may talk to the next person and the next person may be her buyer. Or check this out. That next person may love so much what she's doing and says, man, I like how your boots on the ground and I'm thinking about selling my place.
Yeah, it
And I
fits
now
just
want you to be the
yeah.
agent for that. Okay. But that's identifying. So maybe I want to work condominiums. Okay. So identifying exactly what you guys want to work and stick to it. Okay. And then from there, what you got to do is you have to nurture. So a lot of times we kind of believe that, man, I did it for 2 weeks. I done it for 30 days. I done it for 3 months and nothing's happening or something happened here. I had someone leave our program. Check this out, y'all. I had someone leave our program, licensee for over 5 years. Listen to this. And I wish Dr. K was here. Can somebody get Dr. K for me, please? Because these are testimonies that I'm giving to you guys that I need my witnesses in the room. Okay. She's been licensed for 5 years and she never got her first listing before. And we were able to walk her through her first listing on understanding how to nurture someone and understanding that it takes time and nothing is built overnight. And then she left the program because she learned enough that she needed and she went ahead and took off. And I'm like, you haven't had a listing in 5 years that you've been licensed and you out one listing and you just take off. But what she did was she understood, she got the information that she needed. She saw where her weak point was, and she understood that, hey, if I understand that this doesn't happen overnight and I continue to work on nurturing people, which is like follow up and follow through and follow back, that I'll now be able to get more deals. And those deals are now called conversions. So what does my nurturing system look like if I am going to do this? And yes, I'm going to talk to the police officers. Yes, I'm going to talk to the school teachers. Yes, I'm going to talk to the FISBOs that are out there or the expireds that are out there. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, there's going to be days where you don't get appointments. There's going to be days where people tell you to follow up. There's going to be days where people say, hey, it's been 2-3 weeks and I'm ready to go right now. But guess what? We built an arsenal system through our text messages, through our videos, through our emails, that they are now able to know that we are the profession. I literally list a for sale by owner. He met with 30 something people. And he told me this. He said he met with 30 something people. And he literally called me to sell his house because he says he tried it out for 2 weeks. His mom's a former realtor. And he said it's time for him to now release this over to the professionals. And how do we do that? We were able to do that through marketing, but also through emails. So what do we do? Okay, Kayla, I'm here till 8 o'clock.
Yeah, so
What
you
do we?
have time
8:30.
till 8:30. You have time to go and to also do a Q&A towards the end.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, so what do we do, ladies and gentlemen? Every single week, every single Wednesday, which will be tomorrow, our expireds are getting an email from us of something that's happening in the market. Our for sale by owners are getting something in their email of what's happening in the market. Our for sale by owners are also getting set up in our system so they're aware of the homes that are coming off the market and going on the market in their area. How do we do that? We're going to use the MLS. Okay. The MLS is going to be your best friend. Okay. And for other you guys that have like systems within your companies, if you guys have a make me move within your company, or you guys have a squeeze page within your company, or you guys have a collection account within your companies, you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna put them into there. Okay. That's why email is very important. Mr. Sell, I'm okay that you don't want to meet with me right now, but if there's an opportunity where I can show you the most information that's happening in your particular area, not just nationwide, is it okay if I email it to you? Okay. I'm literally talking to a for sale by owner through the process right now that she continues to raise the price, lower the price. She's going through her whole roof process right now. I actually gave her the roofer. And guess what? Pam is going to be squeezed so much if she's going to relinquish the listing to me, because I've already done the work. And guess what? She's already done 75% of the work. So now when I come in, because she's already replaced the roof, she's already decluttered the home, she's already listened to me as far as her guide goes, it's going to make the job a lot more easier for me.
Please let Dr. Karen in. She's in the waiting room.
So check this out. Okay? So every single Wednesday, they're going to get an email from us that is pertinent to what they have going on. Expireds, for sale by owners. If we're circle prospecting, I'm really big on like working this Fort Lauderdale area that I'm not. For those of you guys that don't know me, I live in the city of Fort Lauderdale. Okay. And it's information that is pertinent to them. So where are we getting the information from? We're getting the information from Instagram. I love Instagram. So if you don't have an Instagram account, you better get on there. We're getting the information from our company that sends out information. We're getting information from realtor.com. We're getting information from Inman. We're getting information from Real Deal. Like the information that I see, I literally just take it, we compress it, and we send it out. Okay. And then guess what? Our whole entire database is getting a monthly newsletter. Okay. A monthly newsletter on what's happening. I literally have a seller right now, you guys, and I'm working on a price reduction. And I have them on a system that notifies me when things are happening in the area. And I literally just sent them a house that went pending because I was alerted. Systems, I was alerted. So now I was able to say, hey, just check this out. This house just went under contract. She says, wow, what a beautiful home. I said, yeah, it was listed for this amount. It's under contract for, I don't know, but I'll be definitely willing to try to find out. And then she's like, the square footage. She's like, hey, based off of this price, we need to be at that price. And I said, exactly. We need to be talking about lowering the price. Okay. And then what we're going to work on, y'all, we're going to work on conversion. Okay. So what does the conversion look like? The conversion may be different for me than it is for you or someone else that's in here. Okay. And I may get on the phones, ladies and gentlemen, and I could probably get on the phones for 30 minutes, and I could probably convert someone in the first 30 minutes. Because what happens is I built the opportunity to continue to do this over and over and over and over again, where I can smell an objection and I already have the answer. But how do you do that? You do that by continuing to do the same activity over and over again. How do you get bigger shoulders? You work them out. How do you get a bigger glutes? You work them out. Okay. How do you lose the fat in your stomach? You work it out. Okay. So we continue to do the same thing over and over and over again. But the number one way to do that is first, A, commit to making the calls, and then B, create a follow-up system that's extremely like detailed. So what are your notes look like? So I spoke to Jessica, and what did Jessica tell me? Because now when I send Jessica out a thank you card, Jessica's gonna get that information. When Jessica gets out a CMA on her home, she's gonna get that information. And then what does my follow-up system look like? So if Jessica says to call her back in 30 days, I'm calling her back in maybe 11 to 12 days. And honestly, if I push my own buttons, I'm probably calling her back in 2 days because she probably forgot that she spoke to me because she's speaking to so many other people. But guess what? I'm using a system. So for example, I use Mojo. Okay. I've used every other system that's out there. I do have RedX. I do have Mojo, but I use Mojo mostly. And maybe you're on a Vulcan 7 opportunity, or maybe you're in a space where you can't afford it. You got to go to Excel. Everything's in Excel. My new staff that I just brought on this week is on Excel. Everything goes on Excel. Okay. You're figuring out what system works for you, and you're logging your notes on there. And you're logging your notes on there. You know what's so great about Excel is that Excel, you can put a calendar into Excel, you guys, and you can put the calendar to have a reminder. Okay. And it'll remind you through your Google account. If you have your Excel on Google Sheets, it'll remind you of the stuff that you need to do. Okay. So that's where it all starts. Committing to first doing something and continuing to do it every single day. Every single day. Can no day go by where you're like, man, I wasn't able to do this because something else happened? There's nothing that can possibly happen that's more important than you ensuring that the roof over your head is taken care of every single month. There's nothing else important than that. I speak to people sometimes and they're like, man, I didn't have time to prospect this day. I didn't have time to prospect this week. And I'm like, you allow 40 hours of the work week to go by and you didn't make a single call? You didn't add anyone new to your database? So you were just that busy doing who knows what that you could not generate an opportunity to ensure that your bank account gets thicker each and every single month? You got to talk to yourself like that. You got to be disgusted with what's happening right now. And maybe you're not in that position. Maybe you love where you're at, but I believe that there's always another level with your name on it. And you got to be able to say, man, I'm committed to doing this. And I sometimes tell people, hey, listen, if you can't do it for 2, 3 hours, you got to do it for 30 minutes. You got to commit to doing it for 30 minutes. I even told, I broke my own rule yesterday. I told someone, just get on the phone for freaking 20 minutes already. Why don't you? Okay. And another way to build your pipeline also is building it through people that are right here in this orbit. 48 people. Kudos to you guys. 48 people in here. Build your database of the people that's here. Okay. What do I mean by that? We may have commercial specialists in here. We may have foreclosure specialists in here. We may have Palm Beach specialists in here. We may have Miami specialists in here. We may have Broward specialists in here. We may have, who knows, people from California, Texas, Orlando in here. Do I not get referrals from people from other states, other cities? Yes, I do. I can probably go down my list of listings right now, and I could probably say, man, like a nice 25% of it is probably referral based. I'm not talking about a client that sent me someone. That's easy and effortlessly. I'm talking about relationships that I built with people that now their client is moving from Orlando to here, or they saw me at a conference in Denver and now they referred me to people, or maybe they know that I am the man to get the job done because when it comes to sellers and listings, I'm going to work on it. I'm going to work at it honestly at a favorable price. Some of you guys sometimes think that, man, because I'm doing all the work, that it's not favorable to pay it forward. And what do I mean by that is that, oh, you believe that because you're doing all the work, you want all the money. No, I want to earn and gain your relationship and your respect. So yes, Dershan, yes, Joanne, send me somebody and I'll work it for 20, 30, 40, 50, 75%, whatever it is. Because guess what? Once I've proven myself to you, you're going to send me more business. Is not the way it goes? So if you don't have a CRM right now, you want to work on getting one. Okay. Maybe your company provides a CRM to you. Maybe you got to go out and buy one. Maybe you got to share one with a friend, or maybe you got to say, man, good old Excel or Word or whatever that's out there. But everyone goes into the CRM. I wow people when they say, I got 39,000 people in my database. And they're like, wow. I try to hire an employee of our own company to clean up my database and do some more work into it because we have some automated systems into our systems. And she's like, Jeff, I just can't give you a price because your database. Oh my gosh. No one else here has a database like this? And the reason why is because everyone is an opportunity. I never know where my next deal is going to come from. So do you guys take business cards like this and just throw them away, leave them in your car, write notes on them? Or do you actually take them and plug them to your database and figure out how can I create relationships with these people? How can I do business with these people? How can I service them? How can they service me? Okay. How can they get the information that I have because I have the information because I'm the source? I am the source. And I got to make sure that when the information goes out, I'm the first one to have it. So now I can now give it out to them. I always remember when the Bank of America thing came out and everyone was talking about it. And I was like, the moment a client sent me a TikTok video, I done disservice to my business. Because a customer went and pulled the information off of TikTok rather than me sending it out through text, through video, through email, through phone call. Because guess what? As easy as you can get them is as easy as you can lose them. So am I being very aware? My boy Troy's in the room, my God. Am I being very aware about what's happening so that now I am the source of everything real estate. One of my customers, I actually forgot the scenario and I asked them, why didn't they call me? I don't remember. Hopefully it'll come back to me. But something took place, not in the space of real estate, but it just took place. And I'm like, man, why didn't you call me? Like, I would have helped you with that, you know? And then you got to also understand that, man, maybe I can prospect through organizations. Am I a part of this one? You know, am I a part of organizations that I can now create real lifetime relationships with, where we can now do business together, where they can now refer me business, where they can now understand that I am the source to help them towards that, you know? I always believe that we should involve ourselves into real estate stuff, but we should also involve ourselves into other things. Okay. So if I happen to live in an area, so like for August, Fort Lauderdale has so many things going on. And I literally plugged every single thing in my calendar because not just I just moved here, but I want to know like what's going on. Like I want to know everything that's what's going on here. So am I doing that? Am I living in a particular area? Am I living in a particular community? Am I living in a particular city or state right now where I'm not getting involved into what's happening because I don't see an opportunity that's come out of it? Opportunities are only created when we create them. And that's why I always tell people that when you go to these networking events, you always want to go with an agenda of what are you going to do? What is your purpose and what do you want to get out of it? So my goal always, and you'll know me, I always come, I stay, and I leave. You'll never see me there for 2 hours. You'll never see me there for 3 hours. And you'll probably wonder, like, he was just here a second ago because I already accomplished the task that I needed. My task is always to meet at least 3 to 5 new people that I don't know, that I can now connect with. And then from there, I can go on about my business. So now I ask myself, how do I prospect the community or the area that I'm in? I get involved. I get involved through service. I get involved through paying. I get involved through earning. Okay. Service, paying, or earning. So did I earn myself into the spot? Did I service my way so I can meet more people? Or did I just have to pay? Pay for this membership, pay for that membership because I want to get something out of it. These are forms of prospecting, ladies and gentlemen. These are forms that you have probably never thought about, but you got to expand your mind and say, what am I getting out of this? And what am I going to pour into this as well? Because it has to be a reciprocity thing because why? The universe is watching you. The universe is watching you. I get just listed soul calls right now because I made it a focus of mine to really work in the space of working with sellers. So how do I do that? I focus on that. I focus on that. I preach on that. I talk about that. I promise you, if they would have asked me to speak about buyers right now, I'd probably been like, I'm not the best person for you. It's not my avenue. It's not my avenue. But I highly recommend that you speak to this person, that person, because they're huge in that space. And they probably know more stuff than I do. They probably know how to get a buyer under contract by showing them 2, 3 houses. I may tell you to go show them 14, 15. I don't really know. Okay. And then am I going to do maybe some online marketing? Am I building a brand? It's 2025 right now. As much as I hate social media, y'all, I really do. Am I building a brand out there so that people know me and they also know who I am when I'm sleeping? One of the best ideas that Kayla had was that she was like, let's do a video real quick. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's knock it out. Man, the engagement on that was amazing. And guess what? That was free work. So maybe once again, I'm going to go back to not being on the phones because you guys hear me talk about that a lot for those of you guys that know me, but I am going to talk about the phones. But I'm thinking about other ways that I can really get myself out there. So what am I going to do? I'm going to build a following, rather that be on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Snapchat, on WhatsApp, whatever it is, where I am the expert when it comes to working with buyers, working with sellers, dominating in the space, or maybe dominating in the area. So, man, oh my gosh, I've been mailing postcards to this area so many times and I haven't gotten anything. I'm about to give up. Imagine if you tap that on with some phone calls that you did. Imagine if you layered that with some video content that you're doing. Video content goes viral a lot faster than hitting the phones. It's free if you're recording yourself and you're not paying a content person thousands of dollars, but you're actually learning the area and you're being the authority once again in that area. So what's going to happen? So like, for example, one of my good friends, I remember he knows every single building in Miami Beach. He knows every single building in Miami Beach. And how do I know this? Not only has he proven himself to know every single building in Miami Beach, but I can literally send him a photo right now and be like, what building is this? And he'll be like, oh, that's the blue building. Or I can literally send him a unit and he'll be like, I'll be like, unit 1005. And then he'll be like, oh, that's the intercoastal view. That's the bay view. That's the water view. That's the pool view. Because he's done the work. So I ask you guys, are you actively doing the work? Are you being in an area and you have no idea where the best restaurants is, where the dry cleaners are, where the postal office is? Think about this. Audit yourself real quick. I should be able to call you right now and say, man, I'm in North Miami, or I'm in Coral Gables, or I'm in Boca Raton. I was on the phone with Angelique yesterday, and I said, Angelique, I don't know what community I am, but I'm on 78th Street. And she's like, oh, you're in this development. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm just down here, just riding. But she's done the work, y'all. Not only does she live there, she visits the restaurants, but she's done the work. So we got to say, man, I don't have leads. I don't have opportunities. I don't have people calling me. I don't have transactions. I don't have pending deals. And I don't seem to understand why. You haven't done the work. The universe is not going to feed you anything that you haven't worked for. I'm sorry to say. But I believe this. You do the work and you will reap what you sow each and every single time. It's going to come back to you 10 times forward. Okay? So now when it comes to prospecting, we got to understand, especially in this time that we're in right now, is that every seller doesn't need to sell. Every seller does not need to sell. So we have to truly understand how to ask the best questions so we don't waste our time. We're going to be putting more marketing dollars. We're going to be doing more open houses, more brokers opens, more advertising, more ads for someone that really is not going to sell if they don't get $1,000,001. And they told you that 45 days ago, but you failed to listen to them because you were so excited about getting a listing. So what are we doing right now is that we're building true rapport with people when we're getting on the phones with them. Okay? The story may shift next month. The story may shift next week. The story may shift next year. But what I'm telling you guys right now is don't get people that are not motivated to sell to try to get them to sell. Unless you just want to stack up listings and they'll sell eventually. Now you got to worry about it expiring, temporarily off the market, withdrawn. We're seeing it all over social media, you guys. Sellers are removing their homes off the market right now because they're not getting what they want. But guess what? Did we have the conversations with them that we needed to have with them in advance before we signed them up? Did we talk to them about the roller coaster that they're going to be going into? Did we talk to them about buyer's concessions, commission? Okay, what may happen? Mr. Seller, we may need to drop the price. Mr. Seller, this house is selling, that house is selling, this house is not selling. Did we educate them? And I'm talking about the market that we're in right now, y'all, is be able to build a rapport of being the trusted professional and understand that every seller doesn't need to sell, but you got goals and dreams that you got to meet. Okay, so how do we do that? Is we do that through effective communication. I love that we role play each and every single morning and we're really focusing on the listing presentation right now. Because through this, I'm really understanding like what the agents are doing, what are they not doing, how can they do a little bit better, what can I learn? Because I'm always a student. That's one of the best things about coaches, y'all, is being a student, learning how to listen with your 2 ears and close your mouth with your 1 mouth, okay? But understanding that we got to ask the right questions. Providing the opportunity to ask the right questions is going to help us to convert more transactions. So if you don't have a intake form of some sort, I'd go to my best friend, ChatGPT, and tell them, hey, I'm going to be prospecting in Davie, Florida for the next 3 months. And I'm going to be meeting sellers that are for sale by owners, expires, foreclosures, whatever they are, divorcees, which is a very high rate right now. Give me 15, 20, 30, 40 questions to ask them as I continue to build a relationship. Because not every customer is the same. We know this. For those of us that close transactions, we know that deal that we did, that we blinked our eye, we closed, everything went smooth, is not the same deal that we dealt with last week. It's not the same seller, the same buyer, the same opportunity. Okay? So understanding what is the motivation for them selling right now? Is the motivation for them to sell, is it because they need to downsize? Is it the motivation for them to sell? Is it that they need to upsize? Is the motivation that they have is that they're getting divorced? Is the motivation that they've outgrown the home? Asking the right questions. Okay. And why do a lot of people get hang up on the first 5 seconds on the phone is because we're so interested in what we have to say. We're so interested in what we have to say that we don't even take the opportunity to ask the seller, like, why are you selling the house? Why are you a for sale by owner? Why are you an expired? Okay. What do you think happened? And what I love to do is I love to like role play a few of those so that you guys can really understand like the depth of like what I do when I get on the phone. And I'm okay that I didn't get an appointment today, but I was able to add 15 people to my database because Jessica, Becky, Ronald, Sam, Jacob, Israel, Rebecca all need my help. And through follow-ups and proper guiding, I'm going to be able to help them to get there. And that's where it comes when it talks about building the database, loading up the pipeline. Okay. And then do I have the proper leads? I mean, do I have the proper script? Okay. We all need a script. Okay. You put me somewhere for the first time, I'm not going to know what to do. I need some sort of guidance, some sort of coaching. So do I have the proper scripts? So maybe you want to get the scripts from me. Maybe you want to get the scripts from someone else. Maybe you want to go on ChatGPT and get the scripts. But you need some type of guidance to allow you the opportunity to flow. Listen, I'm literally talking to a guy right now for $34 million in Golden Beach. I'm having great dialogue with him. I'm going to tell you guys a story, okay? And if it doesn't get any more vulnerable than this, then nothing is vulnerable, okay? So I'm talking to a guy. It was their parents' home. They grew up in this house in Golden Beach, right? And I spoke to the brother. I spoke to the son, who's an attorney, who's happened to be my great friend right now. And then I spoke to the other three brothers. And I came to find out that they're all fighting. They all have their own views. Some believe that it should be sold off market. Some believe that it shouldn't be sold off market. And I said, wait a minute, I've been like running around in circles for like weeks now. And I need to like pull in the professionals. I called Chad Carroll from my office. And I said, Chad, I got a $34 million seller that I'm speaking to. Can I schedule a call with you and explain to you what's going on and how you can be of assistance to me? And then we get on the phone and he's like, Jeff, he's like, I can tell you what to say, or you can move yourself out the way. You can collect 30%. I'll take 70% and I'll work on the deal from here on. Ah, 30%. I've been working on that seller. I've been meeting with them. I've been talking to them. I ain't gonna take 30%. Man, I want that transaction. I want that deal. I want that cake. 34 million close. Hello. But check this out. He says, Jeff, you got to talk the lingo. You got to talk price per square feet.
Getting answered. Daniel, I'm going to ask you to unmute yourself. We're going to rapid fire this and we try to get as many questions as possible. Hey, thanks so much.
Man, we should all get on that call. What's that call about, Melissa? Type in the chat what you listening to so we could jump on there too. He's like, you got to talk their language. Price per square feet. Talk about how I sold billions of dollars. I'm a student, so I took notes, y'all. I'm not just making this stuff up. I'm going to go pull up my notes because Chad told me what to say when I speak to them. Tell them I sold billions of dollars in real estate. Let them know I'm the top 10 in the nation. Let them know I'm the #1 broker with Compass. Okay. Let them know I understand price per square feet. Let them know I've sold over 15 homes in the area. He says you got to talk their lingo. So we still want to know what you're listening to, though. Yeah. So, am I doing the education that I need to do to make the calls that I'm making? So, Jeff, I want to do commercial. Okay, great. You want to do commercial? It's been 5 months. I haven't seen one commercial deal from you. What's going on? Jeff, I want to go work luxury. Jeff, I want to go work foreclosures. Jeff, I want to go work Norland. North Miami. I want to go work Pinecrest. I want to go work Coral Gables. But have I taken the time to learn? Have I taken the time to learn? I don't get every single listing, but I get most of them. My conversion's on point. But guess what? I lost a listing last week, Cooper City. I had them. I was there for 2 hours. Gift card after gift card after gift card. I had them. But guess what? I thought I had them, and I had one. I had the husband. I didn't have the wife. The wife was adamant about working with an agent that was in Cooper City. And it's going to happen. But I say this. While I had sold some stuff in Cooper City, while I had some knowledge about Cooper City, maybe I didn't wow her enough. Maybe I didn't wow her enough that, man, this guy's the champ in Cooper City, to have won her over. And it's going to happen. But do I have enough to step my foot forward and say, man, I know this area. I know about the new construction. I know about the Montclair. I know about the publics that was taken down. I know about the Jews that live in the area. I know about the schools that are in the area. I know about the synagogue that's close by. I know about the Chabad that I used to attend for many, many years on 90th Avenue. I thought I knew enough, but I didn't know her. But I bet you some of you guys, you make calls and you're like, damn, I made a call. I kind of got a listing appointment, but I didn't close them. And you don't understand why you didn't close them. You got to study the information. Don't just get in your car and go. Go study the information. Go learn about the area. Go drive around the community. Go see what's happening. Imagine if you go to a listing appointment right now and you're able to educate the seller on every single thing that's happening in the area. And guess what? They're going to ask you if you ever sold anything here. And you're going to be like, no, but I've educated myself extremely well. That I promise you, bring in 5 other agents in here. They're not going to know what I know. And Mr. Seller, honestly, they probably don't even know where the buyers are coming from. And I went ahead and done the research and understand where the buyers are coming from. Now I'm able to bring those buyers over to your listing. Your goal is to sell the listing, correct? So we got to ask ourselves, and maybe this is the message. This is the biblical scripts for the day. Yeah, I got to go back and do some homework. We got to go study the work that we need to do. Okay. Go study the work that we need to do. Go study the areas that we're making these calls in. And then it comes to the next thing. Are we targeting in on the areas that we're working in? Are we targeting in the areas that we're working in? Are we just everywhere? We're just scattered everywhere. I promise you, I didn't want to be in Lake Worth today, but my seller called me and said he wants to sell his house. I was like, all right, let's do it. But that's not a seller that actually prospected and picked up the phone and said, man, I'm going to call Lake Worth. I'm going to call Green Acres. I'm going to call Palm Beach. I'm going to call Jupiter. I'm going to call Tequesta. No, I don't want to leave my pocket here. I have a listing that's literally 6 minutes away. I have a listing that's literally, I can see it from here. I love those. 6 minutes away. I'll be right there. Call me when you're down the block and I'll come over and open the door and show you the home. Okay. So we have to spend time studying. That comes into studying the MLS as well. That comes into studying what's active, what's pending, what's closing, so that when we're able to speak to people, we're able to have intelligent conversations. Because the biggest objections that we're battling right now, ladies and gentlemen, are the same ones that we're probably battling all of 2025, okay? And those objections are, my house isn't selling, is why I took it off the market. Okay. They're not giving me what I want, is why I took it off the market. If I sell, where am I going to go? High interest rates, why would I move? But there's an objection answer for everything. Okay. I always say it's not the market, it's the marketing. So what did your agent last do? What are you looking for your agent to do? What would you like for me to do? How am I going to double whatever they did? Okay? If you had a magic wand and you can move somewhere, where would that home be? Okay? So spending time in our craft, and that's learning the objections, ladies and gentlemen. Learning. 5 key components. I'm gonna tell you guys again what the objections are, and then we're gonna probably dissect them later today. Okay? High interest rates are causing me not to move. And once again, ChatGPT is my best friend, so you probably could just take this and plug it right in, okay? High interest rates are allowing me not wanting to move, okay? So I would ask ChatGPT. ChatGPT, give me 5 reasons why high interest rates are causing a seller not to move, and provide the responses that I can give them to kind of trigger them to want to say yes and meet with me, okay? The last agent told me that I needed to lower the price of my listing. Number 3, if I sell my home, where am I going to go? And the communication is so bad right now, y'all. I'm like so serious about this. We kind of go into our cocoons right now and we kind of like say, man, nothing's happening with the listing. Let me like just like move on and do something else. This is where we need to communicate, over communicate more than ever right now. So do we have some sort of system where we're not just educating our sellers because we have them set up where they're watching when things are coming off and on the market? But also, are we communicating with them every week or every day or every other week, letting them know about what have you done as the professional to ensure that their house stays at the forefront of what's happening? Some of y'all probably thought this guy was crazy to have the sellers in the house during the brokers open today. No, stay, see what's happening. The 32 people that walked in here and we got no contract still. Talk to me. Y'all tell me what we need to do next. Okay, so check this out. Am I speaking to my sellers that I do actively have every single week, every other week, every single day? I called the guy. I had sold his house. No, I had listed his property. I just listed his house about 2 weeks ago. I'll say about 3 weeks ago. And the thing about it is that when I went to go list the property, I had pulled it up and noticed he bought it in 2020. I kind of Googled the realtor a little bit to see who they were, because I wasn't going to ask them the question of why didn't they use the previous realtor to sell the house again. I was kind of waiting for the opportunity for it to come up. And the opportunity actually never came up. I never brought it up. I signed them. We moved on. Then I came back for him to do the seller's disclosures, to do the professional photos. And he brought it up. And he said, oh, the guy was awful. He was supposed to get us a washer dryer. He had promised us that, and he never gave us a washer dryer. And I said, wow, integrity, huge issue. But I wasn't wowed and I wasn't awoke until what happened last week. I called them every single Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen. I do what's called our communication guarantee program, which provides the opportunity for me to spend 5 to 10 minutes on the phone with them. And just talk to them about like what's going on with their home. What are their thoughts? What should we do next? What are they looking for? What would they like for me to do? What would they like me not to do? And that was the opportunity to speak to this gentleman last Tuesday night. And I spoke to him and I said, hey, Sal, XYZ is happening. We haven't had any showings. I think it's best that we lower the price. He's like, what do you think we lower it to? And I was like, hey, we should probably lower it to this amount. Before I got it off the phone, he says, thank you for updating me. But it was the way that he said it. I was like, wow, it does work. Wow, I just gave him something that he wasn't getting before. You know, when they say like kind of read the room, that's exactly what happened in that moment. And that moment I realized that I was woke once again, you all, I said it, is that the sellers are looking for the communication. They're looking for it. They're looking to know that they're a part of this, just like you're a part of this, and you're invested just like you're invested, okay? They want to make sure that you're actually working on this. And let's say, for example, the MLS does sell properties, okay? You and I and the 49 other people that are on here probably say the same thing. The MLS does sell properties, okay? The open houses are just pluses. The brokers open are just pluses. The postcards are just pluses. But the MLS sells the properties, okay? And I bet you 98% of sellers probably believe the same thing. But it's how do you make them feel about the process? Okay? Because guess what? the average expired that I call, and one of the one questions that I end up finally getting to, because I'm not really asking that question anymore. A few years ago, I was what did your last agent do? Because now I don't even want to get into that conversation, you all, because my job is not to bash other agents or come in with my big strong arms and say that I'm better than anyone, because I understand that we're in a tough market right now and things are just not happening. So have grace on the agents because we don't know what they've done. But my job right now, and as well as yours, you all, is to ensure that we are invested 110% on their goals. And maybe we're not going to do anything extra, but just being understanding of what their goals are. And maybe their goals are, man, I need to sell this house in the next 3 months. Man, I'm hitting a foreclosure date set for September 25th and I need this property sold. Man, I'm getting divorced with my wife and we're having this situation or that situation going on. Okay, maybe I'm relocating. I don't really know what to do. Okay, and being able to communicate with them exactly what we're going to do, what's the game plan, how does it work, what may not work, so what we're not going to do. Okay, and that's what provides you the opportunity, you all, to stand against other agents. Okay, so luckily for the Cooper City listing, someone from my office actually took the listing. I was able to congratulate her and I sent her an email and I said, hey, I heard that you met with the family and they decided to sign with you. Congratulations and keep killing it. And she responded and she said, thank you. The same to you, Jeff. But it's also the opportunity that it provides me to also go against other people that are in my office sometimes in other companies. Sometimes I know them and I'm able to compete against them because I take the opportunity to truly understand what the seller's goals are and what's our game plan. Our game plan. Like, we're invested into this together, you all. What's our game plan to get them to the finish line? Okay. And that is what's going to have you standing out. So for those of you guys that love those listing presentations, for those of you guys that have to have your listing presentation, for those of you guys that are like, page 1 is this, page 2 is that, page 3 is this, get rid of it. Get rid of it today. And truly understand that you have to build a relationship. I literally knocked out an appointment. I left my event and I knocked out my appointment. I was with the videographer today and I got to the house and I said, whoa, I left my computer. I left my bag. And he's like, what are we gonna do? We gotta come back. I said, no, we're going in. I'm gonna go in. Like what else is there for me to do? Like, the lady wants to sell her house. I want to get the listing. Like, let's do this, you know? And we sat down, we identified some stuff that we need to do with the home. We had the office draft up a listing agreement and we sent it to her right then and there and she signed right on her phone. So no, I didn't have a toolkit. I didn't have an MLS presentation. I didn't have a 15-page presentation. I didn't have a big old binder. I didn't have whatever you guys are using these days. I understand there's a need and there's a service. Okay. So how else am I going to do this? I'm going to do this by case studies. Okay. So case studies are very important right now, you guys, as you guys are making these calls and talking to people, because you don't only just need social proof, but you also need scenarios. Like, when I can say, man, Jessica, it's quite funny you say that. You remind me of Becky. Becky had the same scenario. Becky was getting a job offer to Connecticut, and she knew that she had to sell the property, but she just knew that she would probably be upside down if she sold the house. And this is what she did. People want to hear those type of relatabilities. And what I'm doing now, y'all, is that I'm actually putting the customers on the phone. So I'm like, man, you're dealing with the same exact stuff that my last customer is dealing with. And what I'm going to do is, if it's okay with you, can I call them and they can talk to you about the process? And I'm literally calling them. I'm calling them on the spot. I already know I sold their house. I already know it's a 5-star review. I already know what they're going to say is going to be everything but amazing. And I'm putting them on the spot so that they can now vouch for me to the new seller and they can put the seller at ease. And that's really what people want to do. People just want to be comfortable that they understand that you're the expert. You're going to get them to their goal and they don't have to worry about it. The moment the seller has to ask you a question, there's a problem. The moment the seller needs an update on something, there's a problem. Okay? The moment that you're uneducated about something, ladies and gentlemen, there's a problem. Okay? And let me not say that there's stuff that you don't know, but we got to have the resources. I need to be able to hang up the phone, call someone, and get them a result, an answer right away. Okay? That's my only job, to make the process as smooth as possible for them. Because you have to understand, ladies and gentlemen, is that you don't care about the one deal you're doing right now. You already got the deal. Okay? You're going to place it on the MLS. You're going to do a couple of postcards. You're going to do a couple of phone calls, and it's going to sell itself. What your focus is that when she goes to her next house and she's able to now give you all the reviews and give you all the blessings and grace and all the referrals, you've done something well. And I want you guys to all think about that. Your job is not the one customer. Becky and Joseph have already signed with you. Selling the property is effortlessly. It's easy. Even if you don't do property showings and you don't show your own listings and you decide to put a lockbox or a super on the door, you've already done that part. Your job is to ensure that they're able to refer you to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20 people. And the moment you keep that in the forefront of your mind, you're going to provide what's called a white glove service. Okay? So make sure you pack up your testimonies. If you guys don't have any testimonies on any websites, you want to go ahead and you want to get on realtor.com, get on Zillow, get on Expert Agent, Experience Agent, ratemyagent.com, all those websites. And you want to get yourself some reviews. Some of those websites allows colleagues to send you reviews. Some of those websites do not need to sync it to a property address. So I would get those reviews because those are the best things. When I'm about to meet with someone, not only am I sending them a video, letting them know that I'm so excited to be meeting with them on Tuesday at August 12th at 12 o'clock, but I'm sending them a list of my reviews so they can learn me. They can know who I am. They can be like, wow, before I get there. Okay? And then what we're doing, you guys, is we're building a team. Okay? So building a team provides you the opportunity to truly have 30 listings, have 40 listings, have 20 listings. You know, or whatever it is that you want. Maybe you want 5 listings. Maybe you want just 2. You haven't ever listed anything. You don't even know what it looks like to hit submit, you know? But having the right team, and the right team is not just the staff that I spoke about earlier, or not just the associates that partner up with you throughout the real estate career, but also the people that you work with that you're going to get to the finish line with. And that's going to be your title company, your home inspectors, your mortgage people. If you don't have the opportunity to truly interview who you work with and say, hey, is there a synergy? And you're just using them because someone told you to use them or you met them at a place and you haven't interviewed them for yourself, you're going to do a disservice to yourself and you're going to burn yourself out. Okay? Oh my gosh, valet parking. Oh my gosh, sushi bowl. Oh my gosh, this and that. I didn't pay for anything. I didn't swipe my card one time today. Pay the camera guy. But we build relationships that provide us the opportunity to do that. So building those powerful relationships, you guys, they're going to get you far. So what does that look like? That looks like interviewing the people that I'm working with. Do I have a plumber in my back pocket? Do I have a handyman in my back pocket? Do I have an electrician in my back pocket? Do I have a mold person in my back pocket? I realized today that I didn't have a seawall person in my back pocket. How are you selling waterfront properties, living in Fort Lauderdale on the water? You ain't got no seawall man in your back pocket. So I got to go interview a seawall person and go learn them and go work with them. Because what we're going to do now is we're going to create relationships. Relationships where they're giving me business and I'm giving them business. My barber that cuts my hair every single week sent me a referral today. He sent me one yesterday. And he also sent me one last week also. We're vetting them to see if they're true or not, but they're referrals. So why do I drive 45 minutes to cut my hair for the same guy that's been cutting my hair for the past 10 years? Because like my hairs are kind of free if I think about it, actually. You know, he actually pays me to cut my hair, you know? But those are referrals and those are opportunities and those are relationships that we got to continue building. And that's being intentional about everything. So when we talk about prospecting, no, I'm not talking about sitting here at my desk where I'm at right now for 5, 6, 7, 8 hours, which I typically do and I enjoy doing. I'm talking about prospecting the people in your phone and the people that you're working with. Some of you guys work with the same title company, the same lender, the same home inspector, and there's no reciprocity there. And you think it's okay. I just gave you like, John, I'm thinking about it right now, and I gave you 10 buyers that did 10 inspections at $750 a pop. You charge Becky $850 because it was over 2,500 square feet, and you never run into anyone that's looking to buy or sell. Well, guess what? We're not clear about our goals. We're not clear about our intentions. We're not standing on business because we didn't take the time to interview them. We didn't take the time to have coffee with them. We didn't take the time to have lunch with them. We didn't take the time to break bread with them. We didn't take time to prove to them why should they refer them to you versus referring them to someone else. Because we don't believe that we can prospect our friends. We don't believe that we can prospect our families. We don't believe that we can prospect the handyman. We don't believe that we can prospect realtors. We believe prospecting comes only from the phones. And I got to talk to expireds and FISBOs, which I hate doing. No, prospecting comes from the opportunity to understand that everyone is pretty much a dollar sign. Cha-ching. Okay? So now when it goes to expireds and FISBOs, okay, and then I'll open it up for questions. It's that you got to be committed. You got to be committed to calling the expireds and the FISBOs hot in the morning, okay? So what does my day look like, okay? We're going to call the expireds. I have a timer, y'all. This is a timer. I have a timer because I'm serious. We go 60 seconds expired, 60 seconds for sale by, 60 minutes for sale by owners, 60 minutes expired. And we don't leave the hot seat until we're accomplished the task. I know I love yours, Dr. K. We don't because we have goals. So what do? I do it every single day. The phone goes on Do Not Disturb. I'm on Do Not Disturb now. I've been on Do Not Disturb since 6 o'clock as I prepared for today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 missed calls from 6 o'clock to 8:23. But the same thing happens in the morning. But it's okay. It's not life or death. I'm going to get back to you in a respectable time. I got to do this. I got to do this. Like, this is life or death right now. I just got to do this. I got to get on the phones and I got to prospect. I got to do it. I just have to do it. I cannot do anything else. Freaking 9:30 office meeting tomorrow. Jesus freaking Christ. You know? And then from there, you want to follow it up with some letters. You want to follow it up with add them to your database. You want to follow it up with doing some pop buys. You want to follow it up with doing some door knocking. I'm so committed, ladies and gentlemen, in building my name in Fort Lauderdale. Not only did I go to my manager and ask them, like, what do I do to build my name in Fort Lauderdale? Is that I make a commitment to, like, every single day to print out the expires in Fort Lauderdale. And they're on my desk. And guess what? I knock on them. So every day, I knock on sometimes 1 door, sometimes 3 doors, sometimes 10 doors. And they're just simply expireds and FISBOs that happen to be in Fort Lauderdale. So you got to commit to saying, I'm going to grow my listing game and I'm going to do it by doing the work that needs to be done. And I hope that I gave you some ideas that doesn't have you buckled down to a seat like I am and some of you others that are prospecting magnets, but that I opened up your minds to think that, man, I go to lunch every single Thursday with Sarah. And we have yet to ever talk business and what are your goals and what are my goals and how can we help each other obtain our goals and get to our goals? Because we all have dreams. We're all inspired to get to the next level. So how can we do that? So with 5 minutes left, I want to go ahead and I want to open it up for questions. But if you learn something once again that you're going to implement, don't just lie to me. You're going to implement it starting tomorrow. Drop a 2 in the room for me, please. I'll pass it back to our host. Kayla, if you want to cue him
Yes,
up for
thank you so
Q&A.
much, Jeff. I know Jeff dropped a lot of gems. We see a lot of tools. So, like he said, oftentimes I hear people say knowledge is power. I say no, it's not. It's the application of knowledge that's powerful. So, our hope today is that you guys learn at least 2 to 3 things that you could apply right away so you can see the change in your business. We are going to take just a few questions. If anyone has a question, you can post it on the chat or you can unmute yourself. Then Jeffrey will let us know how they could learn more about the program that you have or if you offer one-on-ones. And then lastly, we'll close out with more information on HREPA. So who has a question?
Hey, Kayla, it's Sonia. I would like to go.
Yes. What's your question?
Hey, guys, it's not a question. I just wanted to, stress that um, I changed brokerages earlier this year and I've changed my focus totally. And, I've purchased a calling system. I've been dedicated to it, not as dedicated as Jeff, which I'm working on that, but I'm on it at least 2 or 3 hours a day, right? 2 to 4 hours a day. And I find myself, I've learned a time block in the morning and time block in the afternoon. And when I tell you it works, it works. I'm working on foreclosures. I'm building more relationship with foreclosures. I called the lady the other day and I had to sit up like this. She said, "Oh yeah, Sonia, I know you." I'm like, well, did she see my name on a caller ID? Then I was like, no, because I'm on the system, so my number is whited out. She said, "Oh yeah, I see you up on Pines Boulevard." And I was like, okay, she sees my ad in front of the Whole Foods. So we talked and talked about her whole foreclosure situation. We literally talked for an hour and she said, "I know you good people." And she said, "I'm listening to everything you say." I gave her a bunch of suggestions on what to do. And I may not get her as a listing because they want to save their home. But when I tell you, she said, "Anybody I know that's selling their house, I'm sending them to you because you're going to have their best interests at heart." She said, "I got your letter." She said, "You fooled me with that gold letter." She said, "I thought it was an invitation." Remember, Kayla, I talk about my gold envelope.
Yes,
And
your
she said
signature.
she thought it was an invitation. But she opened it up. Not only did she get that business card, plus she knows me from the neighborhood, seeing me every day going down Pines Boulevard. Then here I am calling her. I say all this to say everything that Jeff said is 100% accurate. You have to do the work. I have changed a lot this year, and I was very intentional in what I've changed. Branding, everything. My branding is changing, everything is changing. Um, and it's working. Is it a slow year? Yeah. But I have 4 coming soons. And they're
Wow.
not real cheap coming soons. They're, you know, one of us 949, 689, 500, and what's the other one? Can't think of the other one. Maybe it's only 3. But this is a great call, guys. Please, please, please implement the activities that Jeff has
Thank
suggested.
you. Thank you so much for sharing, Sonia. Does anyone else have questions? We'll take 2 more. And yeah, we can take 2 more. You can unmute yourself. I know you guys are very excited to implement at least 2 to 3 things.
Hi, Jeffrey. Hi, everybody. Well, should I say it's a question? It's more of a, how do I approach this type of thing? So I had a listing and like Jeffrey was saying that he had the husband. I had the wife and the husband, it was like a divorce type of situation. And he's still not willing to leave the wife. Yeah. But the wife knows the only way he can leave is by selling the house. So now he has it in a chokehold where he's not signing anything. And it's been a whole back and forth with the wife. Now it's like nobody's talking to each other. So I'm not sure how to approach this. I just let them figure it out. Like whenever they're ready, they can get back to me. But that's the situation.
I definitely agree with that. I think what happens is there's going to be a time and moment where they have to sell the property, and maybe it's going to be from the courts, or maybe it's going to be from them just exhausted of fighting back and forth. And what you have to do is just become a voice of reasoning where you're not picking sides. Definitely never pick sides in divorce situations, but just be able to be professional, be able to give a clear vision of what does it look like when it goes to selling their property, and just provide that information and just stay there and be ready. You know, those are one of those listings that they're like bonus monies when they come to you. You've prospected, you've done everything else, and now they're calling you and they're ready to go. And you did the work, you planted the seeds, and now they're ready to go. So for those, either you have the husband or the wife, whomever you have, I wouldn't pick sides. I would stay very neutral, because you need both parties to be on the same page. And I literally, this happened to me a few times. I literally sold a home of a divorced couple, and both the husband and wife both purchased, and they purchased with me and my team. So think about that. Not only did I sell the house, but then I sold them both a property, and they purchased with me. So that came from being neutral, that came from not picking sides, that came from not getting involved in their business. You know, what's going to happen is one person is going to talk about the other person, and you kind of want to close your ears to that, you know, because at the end of the day, if they're not your friends or family, you're there for one reason, and that's great transactions. So keep that in mind.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you.
Of course.
Thanks for your question. One last question. You can unmute yourself. While we wait for that question, Jeffrey, tell us, how can we contact you if someone wants to do a one-on-one, if you offer that, or tell us more about your mentorship program as we close
Yeah,
up.
so the real estate program, the real estate method, I should say, is a program that I had once thought that I was going to get into. And you know, timing is everything. You know, timing is everything. Dr. Karen and I, who's on here tonight, ended up doing a couple of other collaborations, and she kind of stated that we got to do this. You know, there's a voice for us, there's an opportunity for us. So we decided to go into business together and create this opportunity where we're helping agents that are broken up into two systems. We have our top producers, which are agents that are $2 million and above, and they want to get to the next level. And then we have our rising stars, which are agents that are brand new licensees, or maybe haven't closed that first deal or that second deal, or they just really need help. And we really focus in that program, we really focus on helping them through working with buyers, understanding contracts, their mindset. And then in our top producers, we really focus on really just going after the business. There's like nothing else that's on the plate. Nothing else matters. It's going after the plate, you know. And then we do offer individual coaching as well. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the link here. If anyone's interested, we would definitely do a call with you to really see what you're like. What do you need? Like, what do you need? Because I don't think that we're like for everyone. I think we're for people that understand that our vision is prospecting and lead generation and follow up and listings and going up closings, you know? So what do you need? How do we align with that? How do we get you towards that? And how do we work together, you know? And then what we also just launched right now is we understand that mindset is a big thing, you all. And a lot of people aren't able to make the next phone call. They're not able to close the transactions because they really suffer with their mindset. So what we implemented is like we implemented a book club that we open up to everyone. I don't know if the information's out just yet, but I'll be the first to announce it, you know. So starting next week, Tuesday, we are reading the Atomic Habit, and it's really on how to formulate great habits as professionals in any business. So if you're an accountant, if you're a CPA, if you're an attorney, whatever you are, on how to, you know, form the best habits to be the best that you can be. So that's going to be our book for August. We have our book for September lined up in October. And then what we do have is we also have our scripts and other stuff. So we have a store as well. So if you're saying, hey, Jeff, I cannot be held accountable. I'm just way too busy, too much going on. I just can't, but I need this script, or I need that script, or I need this. We have our store. Our store is on the website as well. You can go to the store, you can purchase, or you can register to purchase as we continue to release more stuff on what do you need, you know. And we have like working with buyers, and we have a whole ebook arsenal on that, you know. So that's the program. But definitely, if you want some more information, you want to connect, go to therealestatemethod.com, and we'll make sure to get you the information that you need.
And let me just add, hey, Coach
Okay.
Jeff, great session this evening, everybody. And one of the two things I say is that if you're not where you want to be at right now, then just make and do a discovery call. Go to the website and just have a conversation. Whether you join the program or not, at least by the time you finish the discovery call, you at least will have some type of plan. And also, one of the things that we're doing in October, remember, this is almost year end. This is the third quarter. And if you don't do what you're supposed to do in the third quarter, when Thanksgiving come and people eat that turkey, they're going to shut down. So you got to go hard right now. We're going to also, in the month of August, we're going to have a 30-day listing challenge where we challenge you to get one listing signed within that 30 days. That is something that we're offering. So I definitely highly recommend that you at least just call, if you're not where you want to be right now. Coach Jeff, awesome session. I'm always getting nuggets from him.
Thank you so much, Dr. Karen. It's nice to have you on. It's nice to have
Absolutely.
Jeffrey on. We really appreciate you guys. On behalf of HREPA, we're here to thank you all. And also, guys, HREPA, the purpose that we serve is to just provide you guys with more resources so that we can close the wealth gap in our communities. It's not limited to real estate realtors only. It's open to real estate professionals nationwide. So we bring more experiences, more experts like this to you so that you can learn and implement. We're having curated networking events later on this quarter, and we're also going to have more benefits for the members. If you want to learn more about what we have to offer, I'm going to post our website on the chat so you can go on and read more about the membership perks. And if you have any questions, you can also DM me. So thank you guys for tuning in. Have a blessed night. And remember to apply the information and be consistent. Be consistent. Go on Jeffrey's Instagram. Jeffrey, I believe it's just Jeffrey Corlon with an underscore. And he's here to help you out. Dr. Karen is here. We're here at HREP and we're just here so that you can grow. All right. Have a good night and be safe, everyone.